In the studio with us, TalkTV's chief political commentator, Peter Cardwell, and politics editor at Tortoise, Cat Neilan. Just on that last comment, Labour had a terrible start to last week, and they weren't coming up for interviews then.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, that wasn't West Reading's decision.
Of course.
But, yes,
he is accessible, though. You've got to be honest, more so than some of the government people. But there you go. They're trying to do a job, aren't they?
That is true, and it's a decision about whether you communicate or not communicate, whether it's a good idea to let other people sort of fill the vacuum for you or not. But the point is that West Reading came on this morning, I suppose, and made his case, and I think probably made his case pretty well. Some good points there, especially about Gaza. But what's interesting with Gaza, I think anyway, is that it's all a bit pointless. It's the SNP trying to cause problems for the Labour Party, as if, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu sitting there in Jerusalem going, I wonder what all these Labour backbenchers think.
Cat, welcome to the show. Can I bring you on that? I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, I know all the people who are caring and sharing are all running around saying, quite rightly, look at those pictures, it's a humanitarian disaster. It doesn't matter what motion they support or they don't support. Netanyahu and Hamas are not going to listen, are they, to the world? I mean, I'm shocked that Netanyahu isn't playing, you know, exactly as the Americans are telling him, but it's seemingly not listening to anybody.
No, I think the only impact it's going to have is on politicians in the UK. And I am a bit concerned, actually, because in November, when we saw this last time, there was a bit of a spike in protests outside MPs' offices, even death threats, you know, and we've since had at least one MP citing that as a reason for standing down. So it does have a kind of read across into the real world. This isn't just a sort of political game.
I agree. Also, you've had Just Stop Oil apparently over the weekend, the Mail on Sunday reporting, saying that they're going to occupy MPs' offices. So Cat's absolutely right. The threat to MPs is real. And I think this discussion, this motion, which doesn't seem to make very much sense, I also think, as West Reading was saying there, that Labour will put their own motion forward and they'll kind of get out of it. But really, what does it add up to in a hill of beans? I mean, West Reading talking about a two-state solution. 75% of people in Israel don't want a two-state solution. And if that were an easy thing, and if that were something that Benjamin Netanyahu wanted, it would have happened by now.
We talk about the political game, but that is the arena of which Keir Starmer finds himself in. You know, last week started pretty terribly for them, but they end with these thumping victories against the Conservatives in the by-elections. Can Keir Starmer sort of capitalise on that momentum to get him through what could be a little bit of a tricky week this week?
Well, I think it's probably a testament to the fact that it was so baked in that we've kind of stopped talking about the by-election results already, and we're already talking about another difficult week for Labour, already on the back of sort of 2 weeks of difficult news. I mean, there wasn't a huge surprise from that by-election win, and that means there's kind of limited opportunity for them to capitalise on it.
Wasn't there, and if I'm wrong, wasn't there a poll, by the way, listen, everybody knows what I think of the last few years under the Tories, but wasn't there a poll in the middle of last week before it took into account it was about the 28 billion backtrack on Green. It hadn't taken in the Azhar Ali thing in Rochdale, where they were down to a 12-point lead, the lowest for several months. One would be interested to see if one comes out early this week, having taken into account the Rochdale thing. I don't know. Peter, you said to me last week, I don't think it's going to make any difference big time, but there was a poll, wasn't there?
There was one poll, and actually that particular polling company, sometimes they sort of jump around a little bit.
Oh, right,
These variations will happen, and Rochdale was really bad. I mean, it still is. The by-election hasn't happened. It's on the 29th of February. It was really bad for the Labour Party in terms of what happened. No, 29th.
God, it's going on.
Yeah, next Thursday. So, yeah, it's going on for a while. But the two victories, can't take anything away. Those were, great victories for Labour, although Kingswood perhaps could have been a bit higher for them, maybe should have been a bit higher. But interestingly, I mean, every bit of evidence we have is pointing to a Labour government. And you bring this back to the Israeli aspect. Keir Starmer at the Munich Security Conference over the weekend, 14 global leaders meeting him, Anthony Blinken, for goodness sake, meeting him, the Taoiseach, various prime ministers of various countries meeting Keir Starmer. They're treating him as if he is with a prime minister in
So is Sunak going to sit at home at the weekend thinking, apart from the fact he knows he's probably done, he's running around Starmer around Europe, paying homage to all these people and being treated. Is that normal? Does that happen normally?
Well, I mean, David Cameron went for the government, and the reason why Rishi Sunak brought him back into government to be the Foreign Secretary is because he does have that sort of gravitas on the stage, and he's continuing this week with more trips further afield into South America. he can do that role because he is a former Prime Minister and therefore he can speak to leaders in a way that perhaps others who are around the Cabinet can't at the minute.
Spot on.
But yes, I do agree. It's, you know, it is something when you have the leader of the party that everyone is saying is the kind of government in waiting, going out and meeting people who likely he will be speaking to on a sort of, on a level footing not too long from now, while Rishi Sunak is nowhere to be seen.
One of the Conservatives' pitches today to the public is we're taking strong action when it comes to phones in schools. Cat, where Streeting was saying, look, this exists. This is just, you know, helpful PR from the Conservatives. Is he right?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, you see that the unions are certainly saying that already a lot of these measures are in place and it isn't the statutory rule.
Do you think it should be?
I mean, I think that my children, thankfully, are too young to be using phones at the minute, so it's not an issue. 5 and 7. But
Brilliant.
I do have nieces who are kind of this age, and that they use their phones on their commute to school. They go a long way. I heard you speaking earlier about why you never had to use it when you were a child. But
well, we said the pigeon.
I think
Smoke signals.
It is more common now that children do seem to travel quite far to go to school, so it is useful.
I get that.
For them to have
I get
that.
from the safety point of view. I get a lot of kids use transport. I am old-fashioned, Cat, and I don't apologise for it. I don't understand. I like the locker idea. I think that they should be able to use it. I don't understand how a
Putting
kid
it
can
in
be
a
sitting
locker,
in class
you'll
doing
take it
that.
Out again.
You what?
You'll take it out again at the end
of the day.
And isn't that when the problems are? I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about kids concentrating in class, which is one
Yes,
issue,
that's
or are
what
we
I'm
talking
talking-
about bullying and self-harm,
well,
which is another
that's a
issue?
really, really good point because it used to...
High-tech companies need to take responsibility.
Well,
as
it's
well,
also the fact that it used to be that the school bullying stopped at the gate when you went home, but now it can continue for such a long period of time. So, yeah, the concentration in class, really important. And also, show me a school that doesn't have a policy on mobile phones. I mean, the government, yet again, is playing catch-up.
Is this window dressing because there's an election?
A lot of this already
Even you're a
exists.
nerd and you're looking bored of the Tories' approach to life now.
A lot of
It's
this
a free
is
policy.
already there.
It's a policy that doesn't cost them any money.
Exactly, and Cat's absolutely spot on. And there have been quite a few of these recently where they say, look, there's no money. We're going to stop, you know, trans people being in single-sex wards, for example. That doesn't cost any money. They can say whatever they like on that. The big question is, what is the government doing with actual policies, spending money? How are they allocating that? What's the budget going to look like on the 6th of March? That's the truly substantive stuff that affects people's lives.
Just very quickly, Cat, you're new and we'll have you back. It's been fantastic. Do you think he's the dead man walking sooner?
Well, I think that's certainly the view of a lot of his colleagues. It would be the diplomatic way of
Up to
putting it.
100, apparently. Tory chicken run. More than 100 could resign before the election.
Do you want a nerdy point?
Yes, please. Nerdy point alert. Nerdy.
So a chicken run is actually when you move from one constituency you can't win anymore to a constituency that you think you can win. A chicken run is not just leaving politics, which some people are saying over the last little while. But there are 58 MPs who say they're going to leave. They're not doing a chicken run. They're actually resigning from politics.
I thought it meant they're chickens and they're running away. That you did as well, didn't you?
They're being cowardly, so they're saying, I don't think I'm going to lose this seat, so I
Gutless.
want to go to a safe one.
Yeah, that's fine. But 58 people, and it could be up to 100, are saying they're actually leaving politics. They're saying, you know, stop
Are you
this for
gonna
against
stand?
soldiers. Me?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't inflict myself on the public.
I think that's very... Actually, thank you very much indeed, Peter Cardwell and Cat. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Please come back. So much better than him.
Cat Neilan from Tortoise, really
Thanks,
appreciate
Jeremy.
it.
That's only joking.